All right. Well, today we're going to talk about writing equations of lines that are either perpendicular to one that we already have, and the symbol for perpendicular is like an upside down T, or writing an equation that is parallel to a line that we already have, and parallel symbol is maybe like a little slanted 11. Okay? So, before we can know whether we're going to something's perpendicular or parallel, we got to know how do those slopes relate to each other. There's a way to tell just by looking at slopes if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither one of those two. All right? And so, here's what you need to know. Parallel lines have the same slope. Their slopes are equal. Y equals 3x plus 5 is parallel to y equals 3x minus 7. How do I know that? The slope of this line is 3. The slope of that line is 3. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Ooh, opposite reciprocals. Well, I know what opposite means. Opposite means going from positive to negative or negative to positive. What does reciprocal mean? Reciprocal means flipping. What's the reciprocal of 1/2? 2 over 1 or 2. Okay? So if I said one line has a slope of negative 1/2, the slope of a line perpendicular to that would have a slope of 2. Flip it and make its sign its opposite. Okay? What if I had a slope of 3? What would be perpendicular to a slope of 3? Well, flip it, that's 1/3, and then make it negative because it was positive here. So by looking at either for same slopes or looking for opposite reciprocal slopes, we can tell if two lines are indeed parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay? What you're going to run into is this. They're going to say, okay, here's a line, 12x minus 3y equals 3. Here's a line, y equals 4x plus 2. And here's a line, 4y plus x equals 8. And they're going to ask you, are any of these parallel, are any of these perpendicular? Well, what should you do? Well, you should get them all into slope-intercept form, just like this. Because in slope-intercept form, you can immediately see what the slope is, can't you? Okay, so let's take this equation right here and get it in slope-intercept form. We probably better take the 12x over here. So we'll have negative 3y equals negative 12x plus 3. I subtracted 12x. How do I get y by itself? I divide by negative 3. Yeah. And so now I get y equals, what's negative 12 divided by negative 3? Positive 4. That's going to be negative 1. So this line has a slope of 4, doesn't it? This line has a slope of 4. What can you tell me about these two lines? They're parallel because they have the same slope. Now let's look at this one right here. Solve for y, so get the x over there. All right, let's get that x over there. So 4y equals negative x plus 8. Get y by itself. We'll divide by 4. And then we'll get y equals negative 1/4 x plus 2. So here's your equation. What's the slope of this line? Negative 1/4. Well, how are negative 1/4 and 4 related? Well, isn't this the opposite reciprocal of that? If you take 4 and flip it, it's 1/4, and you put a negative with it because this is positive? Yep. So this line is perpendicular to that line and that line. All right? So, find their slopes, and you'll know if they're perpendicular or if they're parallel, or maybe if they're neither one. All right. Well, now let's actually write an equation of a line that's parallel to a given line. And here's what they're going to say, all right? They're going to ask you, hey, we want you to write the equation of a line that goes through the point 2, 4 and is parallel to the line y equals 4x plus 1. Well, what's the slope of this line? Isn't the slope of that line 4? Yeah. So what slope should our line have? Parallel means use the same slope. So we're going to use a point and a slope, and we're going to write our equation. Y minus 4 equals, oh, not 2. The slope's not 2. What's the slope? 4. Good. Times x minus 2. And if it just says write an equation, that's fine. If it says put it in slope-intercept form, then all you do is distribute 4x minus 8, and then add 4 to both sides, and you get y equals 4x minus 4. Either one of these are perfectly good answers. Just pay attention to your directions. All right? So to write the equation of a parallel line, take the slope from this one and use it in your own with the point that you're given. All right? Well, then I think you can guess objective number 3 here is going to be write the equation of a line that's perpendicular to a certain line. Okay? Now let's say that they want us to write the equation of a line that goes through negative 3, 4 and is perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x plus 2. Okay? We want it to be perpendicular to this line and go through this point. Well, what is the slope of this line? Isn't it 1/3? Okay. Well, then what's the slope of a line perpendicular to this one? Flip it and make it its opposite. So we're going to use a slope of negative 3. All right. Let's use point slope form. Y minus 4 equals negative 3 times x minus negative 3. We should rewrite that. Y minus 4 equals negative 3 times x plus 3. All right? That's a perfectly good answer in point slope form. Hey, good luck with that. We'll see you.